Well, hello everybody and welcome to Virtual Church. Where else would you rather be on a Sunday afternoon? We are of course live and we are going to have around 12 hymns. I think we have 12 hymns, 4 organ pieces at least, and a whole lot of chat. The first hymn there was of course Winchester New. Actually, I'm rather Winchester old, as Good Chappie has just mentioned. I don't know whether you're talking about me there, Good Chappie, or not. But I can see all the chat, so you can't get away with anything today. That was a request, though, from Barry. So thank you very much, Barry, for requesting that. All of these hymns have been requested, obviously. And we do have potentially, see how we get on with timing, opportunity to play live requests as well, but let's see how we get on first, okay? Hope you're all okay. Please do introduce yourselves. Please do let me know where in the world you are. That's always my favourite thing to know and to ask you. Do we have anyone new in with us today who is joining us for the first time? And finally, as you've worked out already, we are in Haarlem. We are on this wonderful 3-manual historical organ, this Müller organ with a huge acoustic and a very bright sound. So let's explore some of these sounds today. Let's not explore any more computer sounds, please. Got my eye on you. Next hymn, where are we going to go next? Thy Hand, O God, has guided, 485. This is a request from Maffett. The tune is called Thornbury, and it has a really good ending. So who have we got in? We've got Sweden, Ohio, Alabama, California, all sorts of places. Lots of Americans so far. Minnesota. Air, David, A-Y-R. Air, is that just like air, as in the air we breathe? Buffalo, Germany, Guten Tag. It's good, very Delaware. See, lots of people from America. I should just move to America, frankly, shouldn't I? Not sure what Hugo would say about that. Thy hand, O God, has guided for Maffett. I've only got one angle set up today, and it's the one over the shoulder. I haven't got the over the, you know, one up there set up. So you'll have to excuse the lack of angles today. Certainly a mixture of mixtures on this organ. We have quite a lot. They're all really bright. The swell has a wonderful mixture. Let me just get on the screen so I can actually tell you properly what they are. Okay, so on the swell, which is actually the Borstwerk, it just says mixture. I don't know how many ranks that is. We have two mixtures on the Grand Orgue. I think the Sherp, which is quite a bright one, is quite a new stop. I think that's Marcusson, but the original one, slightly lower in pitch. And then the one on the lower manual, positive, let's call it, all brought together. So really quite bright indeed. So 4 organ pieces. We'll have our first organ piece after the next couple of hymns. We have, we're going to end with Bach, obviously. We have to end with Bach on this organ. But I thought we'd have something French, something very quiet, something very, very French and very well known indeed. It makes use of one solo stop. Some Mendelssohn, not something from his organ sonatas, one of the movements from the Preludes and Fugues, and then a piece of Sweelinck on this organ. It's just wonderful to play. I haven't played this organ for a long time actually, and when I play it, whenever I play it, I'm always reminded how lively it is. It's noisy. It breathes. If I press these divisionals here and cancel, there's a lot of noise there. I love that. I really love that. I think that's really adds to the whole immersion and fun of Hauptwerk. Lift high the cross, the love of Christ proclaim, till all the world adore his sacred name. Why are you talking about the organ in Wanamaker? I think the thing is of having the chat open here is occasionally I look over and you're talking about something and I think, how on earth have you got onto that? So it's wonderful to see. Jerry, this is one of your favourite hymns. Good. Well, I better play it properly then, haven't I? It's been requested by Magnify. Is that right? Magnify. The tune is called Crucifer. We're not going to have all 11 verses because otherwise we'll be here until tomorrow evening. We will have we'll have some verses. And I always get myself into a bit of a muddle in this hymn with the verse and the refrain. So if I get myself into a muddle today, please do let me off. So lift high the cross. Thank you very much, Jerry, for your dancing dog sticking his tongue out at me. Hope that wasn't chosen to stick your tongue out at me, Jerry. Even if you did, I wouldn't mind quite so much. Yes, we do have audio glitches. Yes, so welcome to Hauptwerk. Welcome to I don't know what's going on. Yes, I know we do. It's one of the reasons why I think the new computers, so the newer organs arriving soon. Let's actually complement it with a new computer as well to hopefully get rid of those glitches. However, people with all sorts of computers, better computers, glitches happen all over the place, and it's very hard to determine why and where they're coming from. So just because we get a new computer doesn't necessarily mean that we'll get rid of the glitches. Fingers crossed though, it will minimize them. Okay, sacred cow pies. Well, there we go. So it's like when you come into a conversation halfway through, no idea what you're talking about. Absolutely no idea. It's probably better I don't have a clue, isn't it? Next hymn is a request from Henk. We're going to go over to Common Praise. This is actually quite a good hymn book. I like this hymn book. And it's Lobet den Herrn. Sing we the praise of the great forerunner. Tell forth the mighty wonders of his stories. So may his master cleanse our lips and make them fit to extol him. Trevor, thank you very much. I can see that picture of you. What are you doing in that picture? You stood behind a cake baking competition table or something. Okay, good Shepherd, that's a very good hack. I know, I often do that. However, I haven't actually disconnected the Hauptwerk computer from the internet because I forgot. Anyway, let's go on to Henk's request. Only 3 verses, so we'll have it at a fairly broad tempo, I think. Let's have the trumpet on the main manual as a solo stop. a very short hymn, but actually very wonderful. Thank you very much, Hank, for yet another superb request. I haven't had a duff request from you yet. Don't let me down. You seem to know a lot of good hymns, so keep them coming. Keep them coming. Right, I think we ought to have our first organ piece today. So, what should we go first? Let's have a little bit of cheeky Mendelssohn, shall we? This is his, just the prelude from the Prelude and Fugue in G. I once played this Prelude and Fugue in a recital at York Minster. Philip Moore came up to me afterwards and very politely said that he got a bit bored during the playing of this piece. So I hope he meant the fugue. The fugue goes on a little bit. I mean, I quite like it actually. I quite like it, but I don't know. Philip was probably not in the mood for it. Anyway, cheerio, Trevor. You off? And Keith's here. Hello, Keith. Good to have you. Been to the Flower Festival? It looks very spectacular on the website with all the pictures. So maybe we should go. Trevor, you've donated again. Stop it. Stop it. Thank you very much. Okay. Socks are dinosaurs indeed. Yeah, these are socks are generally Easter socks, aren't they? With dinosaurs hatching from their eggs. And one of the wonderful things actually about virtual church, for you, less so for me, is when you're singing in a real church. Imagine singing in St. Bogo Kirk for real, with the organ sounding really wonderful in the acoustic and everyone's singing. The organist can get away with a lot more. You don't hear everything when you're in amongst it all. Here, however, you can hear everything the organist is doing. I think if you were to hear an organist playing in a real church or cathedral, and if you hymn, and if you somehow muted the congregation, a normal Sunday morning Eucharist, imagine it's a processional hymn, or you'll often hear the organist doing really strange things, and often it's not entirely clean, let's say, but it's when you have the congregation singing, the organist sounds very clean indeed. But like here, it's very nerve-wracking for me because you hear everything. Okay, let's have this Mendelssohn. I just want to ask you a bit of an odd question, actually, whilst I'm playing this. A bit of an odd question. When we're live, and I mentioned this last week, sort of had a bit of fun. Was it the week or the week before? With the numbers watching. On the screen, I think we have about 120 at the minute. It goes up to 126, and it goes down to 118. It's very strange. But I just want to know, here's the question, is what would make you stay for longer, and what makes you turn off? Do you just click the video and watch for 5 seconds and think it's not very good? Or is it the hymn selection, or the organ, or the camera lighting? What sort of thing puts you off or makes you want to stay for longer? So I'm going to play with Mendelssohn. Don't get bored like Philip Moore once did, and hopefully you'll be able to answer that question for me as I'm playing this. I think that's really wonderful, actually. I think that's the best. I don't know whether it is or not. The C minor is very good. I was going to say that's the best Prelude and Fugue, but the C minor. Do you know the C minor? I think I played this in a recital last year, very early on last year, back in the early days of doing live recitals. Let me just play the beginning of it. It's terrific fun. So it goes like this. Do you know that one? That's good. And the Fugue was a few years ago on the FRCO syllabus. It's jolly good. Yeah, it's good. Very good. I'd like to play that again. It's not the sort of thing that you can just sort of whittle out without practicing. It's definitely a practice piece, that one. The G major, you can just about get away with. Speaking of which, getting away with it, the audio popped. I'm going to just I am going to disconnect the Hauptwerk computer from the internet. This is very important, good chappy, that I disconnect the correct computer, isn't it? If I disconnect the streaming computer, we're offline. So the Hauptwerk computer is now offline. Let's see if that makes a difference. That'd be interesting to see whether that makes a difference. The previous glitch made me make a mistake in that Mendelssohn. We can't have that. Steve and Orgel Haas have both asked for "Oh That I Had 1,000 Voices." That's a lot of voices to have, isn't it? ELW, which one's that? Here it is. And it is, let's have a look, see if we know this one. 833. Not sure I know this one. Doesn't mean you won't, though. There are 5 verses. "Oh, that I had 1,000 voices to praise my God with 1,000 tongues. My heart, which in the Lord rejoices, would then proclaim in grateful songs to all, wherever I might be, what great things God has done for me." Shall we see how it goes? Yes, I think we ought to. So, "Oh, that I had 1,000 voices." Sometimes I'll look at a piece of music, usually a hymn like that, requested by the good selves, and I'll not recognise the way it looks. You know, sometimes you can recognise a piece of music simply from the way it looks, without having to read the music and sing it in your head. You just recognise the shapes. That one I didn't recognise, and I actually didn't know it at all when I played it. It's one of the very few hymns that I get these days, even having been doing VC for over a year and a half, almost. Possibly, yeah, probably a year and a half. I don't think we've had that one before. It hasn't come across my desk. So thank you very much, guys, for requesting that one. Well done for finding something that I didn't know. Tracy, you made a comment about enjoying what I do. That's very kind. Comments like that are really appreciated. Thank you very much. I really enjoy doing this. I really enjoy sitting here, playing virtual church, playing organ recitals, recording Dupré, learning Cochereau, doing all of this sort of thing. I love it. It's the best thing in the world for me, apart from being Hugo's father, of course. This is the second best thing in the world. 365, 385, 365 takes us to let us build a house together where love can dwell and all can safely live. A place where saints and children tell how hearts learn to forgive, and so on. I don't know this one. Don't think I do. There are 5 verses. We probably won't have them all because I think the verses are quite long. So we'll probably only have 3 verses. Ebibs. This is a request made by your good self. Thank you once again for submitting a reading and the collect for organ compline on Thursday. Well done. Nicely read. I really appreciate that. What else have we got going on in the chat then? Well, Ebibs, I can see you. Hello. Ben, how did Mendelssohn do it? Wrote thousands of words, but an amazing conductor. I think he burned out young. I think a lot of, look at Mozart, you know, he did. But then look at William Byrd. He lived until he was 80 in the 16th century. That was pretty much unheard of. Incredible. And he was a very busy man, and he was going through a heck of a lot. A lot of turbulence here in England in that sort of period. Keep chatting along, guys. Keep chatting. Have your screens gone black? I do sincerely hope they haven't. I'm going to carry on. Good. Jenny Allen has said that everything is okay. I'll take Jenny's word for it.
There's a glitch on YouTube, actually.
Is there? Ooh.
I had it go on the television and then on my laptop.
It comes back. I'm just looking at my stats. I have, if I take this off, these are short-sighted. A little bit of insight information for you. Out of nearly 1 million frames, because we're streaming at 60 frames per second, and that my computer is saying that in the past, how long we've been live, about 45 minutes, it has streamed nearly 1 million frames. That's pretty good, isn't it? None of those frames have been dropped. Frames missed due to rendering lag. Oh, it was 11 frames. So we've missed 11 frames. We've skipped 11 frames in 45 minutes out of 1 million.
It's an error message from YouTube. I've never seen it before.
Well, let's refresh your screens, guys, if you get that. Okay, so let's go on to this hymn for Elizabeth. Let us build a house where love can dwell and all can safely live. I got it right that time. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for suggesting that. Another one that I didn't know. Didn't know that. Never heard that at school or anywhere in any church where I've been. I'm glad some people have recognised it. I'm also relieved that the stream is okay. Tea and biscuits in the loft before the service. I'll tell you what, that would be good with coffee. Yes, actually, during the morning Eucharist at the cathedral at Winchester, we used to take it in turns. A little bit of an insight story for you, don't tell the Dean. The late Dean, actually, James Atwell, bless him, such a nice guy, died last year. He was the Dean before retiring. Anyway, we used to take it in turns, the three of us, Andy Lumpson, Simon and myself, used to take it in turns each week to go out and fetch coffee for the sermon. And it was always coffee made in a cafetiere, so we'd have to go over to the office, which is the other side of the cathedral close, bring a cafetiere, boil the water in the office, put the boiling water in the office, put the coffee in, and don't plunge it, leave it up, and walk over the close with this coffee, into the organ loft, and then we'd pour in coffee, and then this waft of coffee would be dispersing around the cathedral, and you could sometimes see the lay clerks looking up. Cheers. We didn't often have biscuits, actually. We didn't often have biscuits. There was always, back in my day, a tin of mints on the side of the organ. They're not there now, but they're. If you saw my organ recital and virtual church from Cirencester, it was those mints. There was a green tin. I think they're M&S mints, Marks and Spencer. They're rather nice. Okay, let's have another organ piece. Let's just have a quick break from hymns. Let's just have a little organ piece. A question in the chat. Let me find it. This is one of them. It really depends on. What the repertoire is. I wouldn't, for example, want to play a Vienne symphony on this organ because it wouldn't work. It would work with a heck of a lot of work in preparation, but you haven't got a swell box, so nothing's enclosed. It's very bright, and French organs are very often very smooth. The diapasons, the monts, the forms are very smooth, and the reeds can be very bitey and exciting, but the hautbois, the oboe, is very smooth and delicate. On this organ, you wouldn't be able to do it. However, the Bach, Buxtehude, Sweelinck, all that sort of stuff, this is perfect. It's wonderful, wonderfully exciting, very clear. Playing the organal Buchlein, for example, on this organ, or there's wonderful chorales by Dietrich Buxtehude, is a dream come true. It really is. So this one is up there. Rotterdam, as you guys know, is a extremely good sample set. It's lifelike, it sounds good, it just does everything well. Apart from it hasn't got an oboe, which I find very irritating. And I'm also really enjoying at the minute the organ of Dudelange. Recently discovered that one. Vox has sent me that organ actually a year ago to play, and it's taken me about a year to get around to playing it because it's only available in stereo. I won't go into that. Basically, that's a bad thing for me. I like it in surround. It's coming in surround. It's being released in surround very, very soon. So I think, to answer your question, I think overall, I would say if I had to go to a desert island and take one organ, it would probably be Dudelange. So let's have some César Franck. This is the piece I was saying earlier, the very well-known piece, very quiet. This is the Prelude from the Prelude, Fugue and Variation. This does have an oboe, this instrument. It's on the main manual, the hoofed work. I'm going to accompany that by one single fluty stop on the swell, and then on the choir as well. Different qualities. Okay, so this is only a very short piece, and 3 or 4 minutes long, 3 minutes I would say, but it gives us a chance just to hear this oboe on this on this wonderful organ. So here we go, César Franck's Prelude from the Prelude, Fugue and Variation. Such a wonderful piece. The fugue is terrific. The best bit for me of the whole set is the variation at the end, where you have that very tune on the same stop, but accompanied by the sort of ripple effect. It's so wonderful, isn't it? So wonderful. It's hard to play though. It's really worth the effort. It's one of the pieces when I was learning as a, what I have been when I learned this, I was at York 20 when I learned this. Fingered a lot of notes in here. I don't tend to do that these days because I do find that incredibly, I find it off-putting. I'd rather be looking at the music rather than the fingering. You should learn the fingering in practice and write in the key notes, the key fingering bits, if you see what I mean. But actually, when you're performing it, that should all be in your muscle memory. So, wonderful piece, isn't it? So, Sam, good to have you with us. We are not in Rotterdam today. We are in Haarlem, as most people have already said. And it's quite a different character to Rotterdam, this organ, actually, isn't it? Right, let's go into Story's request, A&M, Ancient and Modern, 533. All Things Bright and Beautiful. It's one of those hymns that most of us would have sung in our assembly at school. Now, I don't know which hymn tune I'm going to play. Actually, I'm going to play the one. I hope you don't mind. Story, are you in? I think I've seen your name somewhere. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to play the first tune, Royal Oak. I think it's a good tune, this. And we'll have it fairly light, so we'll have, what should we have on, guys? Mutations down on the rugwerk, and the flutes on the other manuals to accompany that. All those noises, wonderful stuff. Okay, so what's going on in the chat? Can you play at the sample set and then a word which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce? I don't have that sample set. So is it any good? Don't know anything about it.
Daniel wants to know if there's a vox humana on this organ.
There is, Daniel Kibaki,
Yeah.
there is indeed a vox humana on this organ, and you will hear it at some point today. In fact, I'll try to. No, it's difficult to use because it's on the swell, and I always use a swell. I'm such an Englishman. Bovenwerk is called on this organ. Anyway, let's crack on. Story, All Things Bright and Beautiful. must remember that secondary couplers are in effect on this organ. If I have, let's call them by their English titles, if you don't mind for now, swell to great, and then great to pedal, everything on the swell will sound on the pedal. It doesn't work that way on these English sort of lazy modern consoles like Harrison consoles and Willis consoles. However, organs like this, I guess, I don't know whether it does on the original organ or not, but if you have that scenario, it can catch you out, particularly when playing All Things Bright and Beautiful, and you're going to find the Vox Humana for Daniel. Anyway, Daniel, you heard there the Vox Humana. I'll use it again. I'll try to use it in a bit more of an appropriate hymn, and it sounds rather funky with the tremulant actually. So we'll have to give that a listen to. Speaking of Daniel's Vox Humana, here we go. We're going to into a request now from this very person. Daniel pretty much comes to every VC. He has his own seat. Woe betide anyone who sits in his seat. And what's he asked for? O God of Bethel, by whose hand thy people still are fed, who through this weary pilgrimage hast all our fathers led. The tune is called Burford, and actually I don't know whether this is named after Burford in the Cotswolds, but we had a very quick holiday in March last year, 2020, the week before lockdown 1 happened here in England. So we managed to get away just before COVID struck here in England. So Burford, it's a nice place. 4 verses, only 4 verses, in F sharp minor. Not played a hymn in F sharp minor for a long time. So here we go. Let's have a listen to this piece, this hymn for Daniel. You asked me what my favourite organ was, and I said probably if I had to really choose, I would say Dudelange at the minute. That will change in the future, I'm sure. But I want to put the question to you now. What is your favourite Hauptwerk organ? Not just the ones that I've got, out of them all. I'm sure you'll all say Samuel Sleeth's organ. Anyway, so what is your favourite Hauptwerk organ? Let me know in the chat right now. Thank you very much, Daniel, for requesting that. Final verse, final line, our souls arrive in peace. A wonderful way to end. So I'm seeing a lot of chat. Some of it's gone off the top of the screen now about the organs, but I did see Nancy mentioned. Rotterdam's been mentioned a few times. Stephen, you just mentioned it just now. It's very diverse. Versatile is the word I meant. Rotterdam. You can do anything on it, I think. You can do French music carefully if you notwithstanding the fact that it hasn't got an oboe on the swell division, you can do most things on that organ and it will sound very good. Nancy, I think, is very, very good. It's one of my favourite organs to play in this room. It sounds incredible in this room. However, with Nancy, whenever I hear anyone playing it online, I find it extremely disappointing. It doesn't translate well to YouTube stereo audio. It translates very well to a big surround setup. However, over YouTube, I would say it doesn't sound particularly good when it gets loud. Okay, this next hymn we're going to have is Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence, one of my favourite hymns. So Mark, thank you very much for requesting this. I don't think Mark's in the chat at the minute. Top Mark. Mark's come home from Mass. Excellent. Excellent. What did you have at Mass this morning, Mark? I think it's morning for you, isn't it now? Probably afternoon. Did you have any plain song? What was the plain song setting? I want to know. Let us all know. You are here, yes. Hello, Mark. Okay, Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silent. Let's have a look at the Noel Rawsthorne, shall we? See what he's done with it. The tune is called Picardy, as I'm sure you all know. So let's go to P and find it in here. Picardy, there it is. Let's see what he's done. So this is for, who is it for? Forgotten already. Mark. Mark's going to tell us what he had at Mass this morning. Whilst I'm going to play Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence. Such a wonderful hymn, wonderful words as well. Verse 3. As the light of light descendeth from the realms of endless day, that the powers of hell may vanish as the darkness clears away. And then at his feet, the six-winged seraph, imagine that being really bright and heavenly, cherubim with sleepless eye, veil their faces to the presence, as with ceaseless voice they cry, Alleluia, 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 Lord Most High. Wonderful hymn, isn't it? It's just such a powerful proclamation. Thank you very much, Craig. It's very, very kind of you indeed. Do you know the setting of this by Edward Bairstow? Such a wonderful piece. I have not heard that for a long time, actually. I used to conduct that quite a lot. One of my favourite Bairstow pieces. Edward Bairstow, for people who don't know, English organist, was Francis Jackson's predecessor at York Minster. Okay, let's have another organ piece now. I'm going to have to use the iPad, so I'm going to have to put your chat away. Look, there's Craig's donation. Isn't Craig very generous? I always put a cat there with hearts in its eyes. Just noticed that. The Passacaglia, which one? The C minor by Bach. Well, if you go to it's on the channel already, Johan. If you go to, there's an organ album that I did. It was the first one I ever did. There's a playlist. I arrange everything in playlists, if you didn't know. And it's the first one. I think it's called Bach Organ Masterpieces or Bach Organ Masterworks. I think it's on there. It's on there. Have a listen, it sounds rather good. Anyway, so I'm going to have to just close that, hoping to get back to it. And I'm going to play some Sweelinck for Eddie King. Eddie King has asked for, unsurprisingly, something from the Baroque period. So I thought I would play some Sweelinck. Sweelinck was was from the Netherlands. I think is the most well-known composer to come out of the Netherlands. And he wrote a lot of wonderful music. And this piece I'm going to play, these markings here, Caroline's markings, these red fingerings here are all Caroline's, because this is the one that she played, and it's the one that I pulled out the chamade, and she wasn't expecting it. I don't think there's a chamade on this organ, so we can't get caught out by that this time. I need to press General 2. That should be the setting for the Sweelinck. So it's called the Echo Fantasia in D minor. It's actually in the Dorian mode, because you have a B natural in the key signature. So here we go. This is the Echo Fantasia for Eddie by Sweelinck. that was the Sweelinck, the Echo Fantasia in D minor, specifically D minor Dorian. I think you'll all agree that Caroline actually played that better than me. Wow, who's that? Who's left that donation in the chat?
Barry, who requested Winchester New.
Barry, that's very kind. Thank you very much indeed. That's incredible. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll just quickly tell you what I used in that. So some of you are interested in the registration. So Jonathan absolutely will tell you. So this, quite simply on the upper manual, on the Bovenwerk, that's just a flute, basically. Okay, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. You can help me out here. Baarpijp. Help me out how to pronounce that, would you? And on the lower manual, hang on, I'm on the wrong piston. There we go. That's basically the flutes all the way up to the sesquialtera. And then on the middle manual, the Hoofdwerk, trumpet, flute, sesquialtera, trumpet. Okay, let's go on. We've only got a few more hymns to go before we go into the big piece by Bach at the end, which I don't think you've heard me play before. And I know that because I haven't played it for a long time. Ben, who has requested a day of rest and gladness, paper. Right, I've got to find a bit of paper. Luckily, it's not fallen off, it's here. There it is, that's lucky. Let me get my rubber to hold it in place. It does it, Barry, it does indeed. It does have it has a few actually. It has an 8-foot on the upper division, a manual. And it also has a 16 on that same manual as well. Has one down on the lower division, the woodwork. And all three of those put together sound like this. I love the harmonics of the of those stops. They're built around the harmonics, and you could almost use one as a 12th. It has that sort of harmonic feeling about it, and yeah, it's very rare actually to find those stops on organs in this country, which I think is a great shame. It's so wonderful to have access to those stops on these Hauptwerk organs. I'm sure I don't know whether you could hear that train going past, but I'm sure that was another steam train. I don't know whether it was a Flying Scotsman this time, but that sounded very much like a steam train going past. Okay, so Ben, here we go. This is a O Day of Rest and Gladness. I'm not sure which Ben this is, whether it's Ben.
Ben Wallace.
It is Ben Wallace. I thought it might have been. Okay, here we go. 4 verses of this. I'll try to use the Vox Humana if I can. Thank you very much, Ben, for requesting that. Didn't know that one at all. I hope that was okay, and I hope I played it to the right sort of speed. I know you're quite particular with your tempos. It doesn't really go very far away from the E flat major, does it? It goes into the dominant at one point. A flat major, not a lot else. But I think that's a really sort of effective hymn because it's really simple and doesn't really need to have any fanfare about it or any pomp and circumstance. It's all in the words. Okay, so good. It's good that you are chatting along. Yes, I'm sure that was a steam train. I'm sure someone will be able to find out whether it was whether it really was a steam train or whether it was just a southwestern train. They're no fun. They're not very interesting at all. A and M, for the beauty of the earth. Sebastian, hello. Don't worry. Latecomers are welcome as well. I wondered what you thought actually about last night's upload, the Dupre with the Caroline singing the plain song. I thought that you might quite like that. And also, what did you think to the Cochero on Friday? I didn't know that at all actually until Tuesday. So I learnt it and recorded it in 2 days. 537. Right. Which tune are we going to have then? The good tune, the second tune in here. Is it Lucerna Laudoniae? Is that right? Or is it Lucerna? Lucerna, often in Latin it's a ch rather than a s, but it really depends on, I think, dialect and whereabouts in the country you are. Lucerna Laudoniae. For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Do you know what? I have a screen over here, as you know, and with YouTube on it, and it went blank on me just now. So actually, whoever it was who said their screen went blank, it just happened to me as well. But I just clicked resume and it's back on. Very strange. Very strange. Okay, so here we go. This is for, who is it for? It's for King Laudrup. Is King Laudrup in the chat? I've not seen his name, but then there's been quite a lot of chatting today, which is fantastic. So I may have just missed him. Okay, so I think after this, we only have one more hymn on the bit of paper here. So I think we should have a couple more actually. So if you want to get requesting, the good hymns will get chosen. Here we go. So, for the beauty of the earth. Good chappie, you asked how long is the echo in this very, very church. I think you'll find out at the end of the Bach. The Bach ends, if I can get my stops in order, it should end on pretty much a really full, rounded sound. Tutty organ, basically. Okay, so I've seen a few requests. I've seen Cofen come in. I've seen the Westminster Abbey coming in. I think actually there's two really good hymns, aren't they? We could end with those two, and that'll get you excited. Get me excited before going into the Bach to play that big pedal solo. But before we get to that, let's have a listen to "There's a wideness in God's mercy, like the wideness of the sea. There's a kindness in his justice, which is more than liberty." This is a request from Julian. The tune is called Corvedale. This time tomorrow, so Monday night, I would have been to Lancing College to record down there. I'm recording a sort of a mini organ recital and a virtual church from there to go online next weekend. Now, if we haven't already, I don't know whether we've got enough hymns already, we may have, but it would do no harm whatsoever if you have some specific requests for the wonderful 4-manual Walker organ in Lancing College. It's very beautiful. To send them through on email. I'm going tomorrow to record tomorrow, so I need to have them by tomorrow, basically. Those people who have sent in recorded messages or introductions to their hymns will be given priority. We've received a few already. So if you want to send yourself introducing the hymn, I will prioritize that over other requests. Keep your introductions no longer than 1 minute, please. Okay, so that's over to you. So let's have "There's a Wideness in God's Mercy," a request from Julian. Then we'll go to some live requests before having the wonderful piece by J.S. Bach. Let's have one more hymn, which I've seen requested a few moments ago. Let's have the tune Westminster Abbey and the words, Christ is made the sure foundation and the precious cornerstone. The, verse 5, Lord and honour to the Father, Lord and honour to the Son. Ian, just before you zoom off, thank you very much for your £50. That's so generous of you. Thank you so much indeed. Gerda, I'm really sorry, as is everyone else, to hear about your return of your cancer. Hopefully we can pray hard enough to get rid of it once again. Fingers crossed for you. So let's have this final hymn as a sort of a in honour of Gerda, and let's sing away that horrible cancer that's just reappeared in her body. So let's sing it away. Christ is made the sure foundation, to the wonderful tune Westminster Abbey. 4 verses of this, only 4 verses, and we'll have a glorious Amen at the very end. And then we will go straight into voluntary. The Toccata in C by J.S. Bach. You counting the echo there, good chappy. It's the famous Toccata, Adagio and Fugue, and the following movement is the most gorgeous Adagio. It's one of the finest movements of organ music. I think that, not the finest, but one of the most beautiful moments. It's like an aria. Basically, you have this wonderful, for example, on a cornet stop, something like this. It would sound, it sounds gorgeous. I think you've heard me play that in a recital before a few times. And then the fugue is just epic, basically. It goes like this. Sight read him. I don't play the fugue. Ooh, fingering. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so on. It's a bit like the D major. Very sort of fun and jolly. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. Thank you very much to people who just donated. Jerry, I just saw one pop in from you as well. So thank you very much to those people who have donated indeed. Very kind of you. Let's have the whole fugue. Well, not today, Sam, I'm afraid. There's no way I can sight read that, particularly when the pedal comes in. I'll need to have a learn of that. Although I will learn it, definitely. I've always wanted to, but it's one of the few that I don't actually yet play, along with the Dorian Fugue. Randomly, I play the Dorian Toccata. I learned that live, actually, months ago on here on YouTube, but the video isn't online anymore. But I never got to the Fugue. Anyway. So thank you very much, everyone. We are now at 8 o'clock. We've been online for 2 hours. I think that's a good time to call it a day. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Tomorrow is Lansing, so get your requests in on email if you want to hear your favourite hymn or an organ piece on the Lansing organ, a 4-manual Walker organ. That's to be broadcast next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So until Saturday and Sunday, I will say a cheerio. Jenny Ellen, it was 564. I will say cheerio. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.